know, I was just thinking about, I know I've probably talked about this before, but it bears repeating. It is astounding to me how much ground you can cover in such an infinitesimally short amount of time on these freaking machines. You're out in the backcountry like this, in remote, very rugged areas. You know, Kevin and I have been riding for, I don't know, better part of an hour or so, and if you were gonna hike what we just did, it would take you 4 or 5 hours. And we just did it in probably 40 minutes or so. Had to post a foot there in a spot I didn't want to. I punched down to first. I couldn't see exactly what was in front of me. I couldn't remember. And then I realized first gear was overkill. Clicked back up in a second.
I've ridden on the moon now.
Yeah, serious. It's bad. Are you hanging back enough where you're not in it?
Yeah.
Okay, good. I was coming down that downhill and I'm just like, man, I hope he's hanging back, because I'm just skidding so much I'm probably making a freaking cloud.
No, I was back there far enough. Embarrassing.
What?
Some guys got the leaking forks.
Are you serious?
But I haven't built these, so I'll stock.
I wonder if I have anything we could get that out with.
That's fine. I'll just finish the ride. And
normally, sometimes I carry like one of those, like, you know, little seal saver things. Yeah. What do you think of those? Like to go up in there and scrape some stuff out? I
would prefer using like a tear off or something thin.
Have you done it? Have you been?
Yeah, but it's marginal. Like once something gets in there and starts to cause it to leak, the seal's already, you know, it's either weak or there's a tear in the seal.
Because it seems like we can often, most often, at least get them to finish or stop leaking for that ride, and sometimes they'll last for, you know, several rides after that.
Yeah. And I think this was leaking from when Cam used it over the weekend, because he washed it and I thought I noticed a little bit. I pulled the dust seals down and flushed them out.
Yeah.
And then I put some grease in there last night, but I think that one's just gone.
Yeah, it looks like it. It's funny because I can go sometimes, I don't know, obviously a lot of my bikes don't get a lot of hours, but you can get a leaking fork seal after 5 hours.
Yeah.
In the right conditions. It's almost like luck of what gets in there. And then other bikes, you know, I can go 100 hours and they never leak.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, a lot of it comes down to just the rider with his maintenance and cleaning techniques, and if you're cracking your bleeders after each ride.
Do you think that helps with the fork seals?
Uh-huh.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
'Cause you'll build up pressure in the fork during a ride, and then when you take it home, if that pressure is just sitting in there, it puts pressure on the backside of the seal, and it can cause them to start leaking.
Whoa, that's cool. Because I mean, I'm pretty good with that. I'm not great with it, and I'm not the guy that drops my dust seals, or you know, my dust seals very often either. I just. Yeah. Do you think that's something that you should be doing when you wash it?
No, the only reason I ever drop the dust seals is just kind of an emergency. Like, I don't have time to replace the seals before this ride. And I'm not a fan of those, like Ty likes running them, those SKF multiplied. But if you have the fork off the bike with and without, you can notice a difference in stiction.
Yeah. I haven't run them. But the reason why I haven't run them is because of the stiction thing. It seems like every suspension guy I've ever talked to is always trying to like, hey, we're going to do this to reduce friction and stiction or whatever. And then you slap that on there and you're going to increase it. And then I'm not having leaking fork seals that often.
Yeah. And we have, I mean, this bike, we've got 25 hours, about 400 miles on it.
So it's almost getting broken in.
Yeah, and Cam's been the one riding it, so I'll blame that for it, because he's big.
Do you think that has a?
If you have a big guy on a bike that's not sprung for you,
then they're low in the stroke.
They're going through the stroke, and it increases the air pressure at the end, so eventually you're gonna pop the seal.
Huh. Maybe that's a big reason why I haven't had a lot of seal issues, is because I'm right in the weight range. I'm not over going through them too bad, going through the stroke too much. Although we'll see how much of the stroke I'm using now.